Maria's marriage to Daniel was everything she had hoped for. They were in love, happy, and surrounded by friends and family who supported them. But there was one person who didn't share in their joy: Daniel's mother, Mrs. Okafor. From the beginning, Mrs. Okafor had made it clear that she didn't approve of Maria. She had always envisioned her son marrying someone else, someone she knew and trusted. Mrs. Okafor had a particular woman in mind for her son, a woman from a respectable family, someone who would add to her status. But Daniel had fallen deeply in love with Maria, and despite his mother's pressure, he stood by his choice. Maria was kind, humble, and hardworking, qualities Mrs. Okafor could never understand. She had always been proud of her family's position and believed that Daniel needed a wife who could elevate their status, not one she saw as too ordinary. At their wedding, Mrs. Okafor tried to hide her displeasure, but it was evident in her cold expressions. As the ceremony went on, she couldn't help but whisper under her breath, "This marriage won't last. You will see." Daniel, however, was determined to make his marriage work, no matter how much his mother disapproved. But Maria could already sense the tension. Her new life was supposed to be a fairy tale, but she quickly realized that her mother-in-law's hatred would be the monster in her story. As the months passed, Mrs. Okafor's hatred for Maria intensified. It wasn't just the fact that Maria wasn't the woman she had chosen for her son. It was that Maria was everything Mrs. Okafor wasn't. Maria had a warm and approachable nature, while Mrs. Okafor was cold, demanding, and controlling. The tension between them grew, and Maria began to feel the weight of it. Mrs. Okafor found ways to criticize Maria at every opportunity. If Maria cooked a meal, it was never good enough. If she cleaned the house, Mrs. Okafor would rearrange everything just to make a point. The once warm relationship between mother and son began to fray. Maria began to notice how distant Daniel had become. He would work late or find reasons to go out with his friends. And when he did come home, he often sided with his mother, no matter how unreasonable she was. Maria tried to talk to Daniel about it, but he would dismiss her concerns, telling her, "Mom is just looking out for us. You will get used to her." But Maria never did get used to it. Mrs. Okafor's influence over Daniel grew, and Maria felt like a stranger in her own home. She tried to stay strong, telling herself that things would improve, but the cracks in their marriage only deepened. Maria had always dreamed of becoming a mother, and Daniel shared that dream with her. They both wanted children, and their hopes soared with each passing day. But something wasn't right. After a year of trying to conceive, Maria noticed that she wasn't getting pregnant. Every doctor's visit brought more heartache, and soon, her dreams of motherhood began to feel like a distant, impossible reality. Mrs. Okafor saw Maria's struggle as her opportunity. Quietly, she made her way to a local herbalist, paying for a potion she believed would prevent Maria from ever conceiving. She secretly added the concoction to Maria's food during her visits, hoping that it would cause the young woman's body to reject pregnancy. Maria, however, began to feel unwell. At first, she thought it was just stress, but the persistent weakness in her body made her suspicious. One day, after a particular upsetting visit to the doctor, she decided to investigate. She found the empty bottle of herbs in her kitchen, and her heart sank. She knew what Mrs. Okafor had done. Her betrayer stung like nothing else. Mrs. Okafor had tried to take away one of the most precious things in her life, her chance at motherhood. Maria was devastated, but her resolve grew stronger. She knew she had to protect herself and her marriage. Maria's patience began to wear thin as Mrs. Okafor's tricks escalated. One day, Mrs. Okafor planted Daniel's watch in Maria's purse, knowing he would find it and assume she had taken it. When Daniel confronted her, Maria's heart sank. "I didn't take it, Daniel," she pleaded, her voice shaking. But Mrs. Okafor was already spinning her version of the story. "She's a thief," she told Daniel. "I have seen her do it before." Daniel didn't want to believe it, but the seed of doubt had been planted, and Maria could see it in his eyes. The tension between them reached a boiling point. Maria didn't know what to do. She felt like her world was crumbling with no one to turn to. Mrs. Okafor's manipulations didn't stop there. She made sure that Daniel's siblings never treated Maria with kindness. At every opportunity, she lied about her, spreading rumors that painted her as selfish and deceitful. Maria, once a part of the family, was now the outsider, rejected and despised by the very people she had hoped to call her own. The truth finally came out. Daniel, once a pawn in his mother's hands, saw through the lies and manipulation. He confronted Mrs. Okafor, his heart full of anger and betrayal. How could you, mother? All these lies, all these games you have played, they have hurt Maria. They have hurt me, he shouted. Mrs. Okafor tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Daniel had discovered how she had schemed against his wife for years, lying, manipulating, and sabotaging their relationship. With a heavy heart, Daniel turned his back on his mother. I won't let you destroy what's left of my family. You have crossed a line, and there's no going back. Mrs. Okafor, broken and humiliated, was left alone, without the love and respect of her family. She had no one to blame but herself for the destruction she had caused. Her manipulation, her wickedness had all backfired. Maria and Daniel, now stronger than ever, rebuilt their marriage. They had their children, and Maria became the mother she had always dreamed of being. They found peace. And as for Mrs. Okafor, her lonely life was a reminder that evil never goes unpunished. Moral lessons from this story. Jealousy destroys relationships. Mrs. Okafor's jealousy and manipulation caused irreparable harm to her family with her son and his wife. Her obsession with control ruined everything. Truth always prevails, no matter how many lies are told. The truth will always come out. Maria and Daniel's love triumphed over deceit and malice. Evil is self-destructive. Mrs. Okafor's actions backfired on her. She lost everything she cared about, showing that wickedness will ultimately bring ruin. The power of resilience and love. Despite everything Maria endured, she remained resilient and strong, and with Daniel's support, they rebuilt their marriage. Love can overcome even the greatest challenges. Thank you for watching, besties. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please support my channel, subscribe, like, share, and leave a nice comment. I will definitely see you on the next one. Bye.